Hello, the name of our study is Collaborative Work and Technological Means for Improving Learners' English Language Writing Production. The authors of this study are María Asunción Rojas, Johnny Villafuerte, and Sandy Soto. We're going to begin by talking about the introduction. So the problem of this study relies on the fact that the students from the university where the study was conducted have not developed their writing skills in English. The possible reasons why the problem has originated is the lack of writing practice in Spanish and the target language, and there has not been motivation to write. The consequences of these problems are difficulties in the professional communication writing and limited academic production. The general objective of this present study is that it is an action research that aims to present a methodology that encourages and guides students to improve their writing competence through writing role-play scripts and research essays collaboratively through the use of technological means. Now we're going to talk about the literature review. First of all, writing skills development during the foreign language learning process. Writing tasks take more time than speaking. When writing, students have the opportunity to deal with communication problems by asking to more experienced peers, consulting dictionaries, or simply going into detail about their knowledge during the process. Technology for information and communication offers Google applications for education, Facebook, etc., since they favor participation, critical spirit, and learning. Another finding from the literature review was collaborative work to motivate writing in Ecuadorian universities. These authors have found some previous studies about the collaborative writing through technological means, and the authors have considered the significance of applying these strategies, these techniques in the Ecuadorian context to motivate learners to write. So, for example, we have the use of wikis for collaborative writing in English language showed that argumentative task resulted in peer correction and the communicative task facilitated more self-correction. Work among peers creates the necessary learning condition to help students helping each other in collaborative writing projects. Collaborative work is a valuable tool for learning development centered on the student. Collaborative work leads students to develop communicative competence for the job market. That means that when they work together, they start preparing themselves to be ready for when they get a job. The following finding of the literature review was about digital competence and PBL for EFL learning. Through Web 1.0, learners have more autonomy and are able to develop in their own rhythm. Learning environments are more authentic. Web 2.0 helps exceed the physical distances. Learners face real and daily situations of the world through the computer. Through Web 3.0, learners exchange information that will lead them to the production of new knowledge. The use of Google Apps in literature circles builds virtual learning communities to strengthen their writing skills. This is a picture of a group of students participants from 5th semester of the university in Ecuador. We're going to talk about the pre-project diagnostic. Regarding scripts, we found that very seldom students participated in communicative written tasks such as the such as scripts for role plays. We observed that there was a very weak writing expression. The language register was not the appropriate. There was limited vocabulary, a lot of grammar errors, and there was a lot of Spanish interference. Then, in relation to the essays, students wrote only one essay during the whole semester. We also observed that there was a weak writing expression. Language register was not the appropriate. There was limited vocabulary, grammar errors, and the use of structures of Spanish in English texts. And also there was a weak in synthesis. Then we're going to talk about the methodology. A group of participants answered online surveys to identify their strategies for writing practice. A focus group discussion was administered to identify learners' use of technological means. The project activities. We use collaborative writing, peer feedback, content of the class, technological means, and final version of the writing task. Students work in pairs or small groups to write scripts and research essays. They consult and correct each other when writing the scripts and research essays. While writing the scripts and research essays, they use the vocabulary, phrases, and content learned in class. During writing, students used Google Translate and other technological applications as supporting tools. Once students followed these activities, they were ready to perform the script in a role-play activity or submit their research paper to the professor. This is a picture of a group of students performing a role-play script. Now we're going to talk about the findings. First, identification of participants' strategies applied in the writing practice. The most significant findings from the online survey were the following. 41% of the participants mentioned that they sometimes use Google Translate to translate from Spanish to English. 64.5% of them mentioned that they sometimes use Google Translate to translate phrases and expressions they do not know in English. 35.5% said that they rarely go to the teacher looking for assistance. 35.5% mentioned that they always ask peers for assistance. 64.5% mentioned that they always use vocabulary and grammar learned in classroom. The second finding was determination of learners' attitudes towards the idiomatic practice using tics. Participants showed positive attitudes towards language practice using tics and social networks, which is observed in the following comments. Social network sites because their functionality should be used for English language practice in higher education. I like the fact that the computer corrects my spelling in English. If I want people to understand my messages in English, I must check very well my spelling before uploading them into the web. The third finding was determination of the key activities that participants considered the most important to write scripts and essays. The findings from the focus group discussion correspond to the categories planning, execution, and evaluation. In relation to planning, we found that most of the students mentioned that it was very important to analyze the topic. Then the task distribution and delegation, collaborative work, and brainstorm. In regards to execution, students mentioned that it was very important to write the dialogues clearly, to use understandable vocabulary, and the use of audiovisual resources. And in relation to the category evaluation, Students mentioned that it was very important to relate to activities done in class and to find help in people with more knowledge of English. Then we have the results of these studies which mention the following. Students sustained acquisition of technical vocabulary and usage of previously learned class content. Students developed their digital competence in the search of online information using TICs. Learners wrote 20 scripts through collaborative writing of high quality. Learners wrote their research essays on time and demonstrated improvement in their writing styles, grammar use, and coherence. It is concluded that learners' written communicative competence in English language was strengthened through collaborative work using online applications, in this case Google Translate. So among all the studies that the authors found, they considered that these 5 authors were important for the development of the present study. We have Nur Hayati with the article Using Local Drama in Writing and Speaking, EFL Learners' Creative Expressions. Rosie, his PhD dissertation was Optimización de las estrategias del roleplay y su integración en el aula del inglés de turismo para la mejora de la producción oral. Savory, his article Overview of Problem-Based Learning, Definition and Distinction, Essential Reading in Problem-Based Learning, Exploring and Extending the Legacy of Howard and Burroughs. Sharma, How do productive skills of Saudi students affect EFL learning and teaching? Villafuerte and Romero, Learners' Attitudes Towards Foreign Language Practice on Social Network Sites. Well, that's all the presentation of my study. Thank you very much for your attention. Bye.